Yeah, thank you. My name is Kofi Arko Nokoe. I'm the Member of Parliament for the good people of Evalue-Ajomoro-Gwira constituency located in Nzimaland of the Western region. And in Parliament, I happen to be the Vice Chairman of the Economy and Development Committee. I'm a member also of the Energy Committee, and then also a member of the um, State Interest and Public Administration Committee. And on the global level, I happen to be the rep of the Central and Western Africa of MPs under 45 at the Young MPs World Bank Forum. Well, the main thing with oil-related issues on the global issue has to do with speculations and panics. The first thing that we need to do as a country is we just have to take it easy, believing in the structures ruled out by the government. Because panic brings out a lot of disarrangements in the value chain, i.e., petroleum sellers might, pump station sellers might try to hoard fuel, people might rush to buy, and the exchange rate, people might be chasing dollars. So panic can do a lot of damage if not well managed. At least the government has come up to tell us that we have some weeks cover, and I believe we based on the happenings, it is the hope of everyone on the global scene that this escalation doesn't last. Because if it does, there is going to be consequences. But for now, I believe we don't have any shortages now. I just went to the fuel station, pump station this morning. There's vast amount of fuel. The government has given assurance that there's more than 5+ weeks of cover. So let's take it easy and hope for the best. That's the main thing. Yeah, I believe we've done well as a country. I mean, this government is bent on reserves. This government is building reserves in regards to gold reserves and even oil. That's why, like I said, a year ago, 2 years ago now, would surely we wouldn't have had even 2 weeks cover of fuel reserve. So we've done well, and that with expansion, some incentives that have been taken, i.e., the extension of the production period of tallow oil and the Health Point Partners, for example. We've extended has been extended to about 4 years, and this is a $2 billion investment, which comes with about 20 wells. This government has come to appreciate that over reliance on liquefied petroleum is not the way to go. So we're doing more of gas, and with this investment, gas will be an option, because remember that the volatility of the crude oil would affect power production. Because as we stand now, quite a number of few number of our IPPs still do liquefied petroleum, and then also transportation costs, which can also trigger inflation. But like I said, it's been good so far with our reserves, and the move by this government to understand that gas is the way to go. It is a just means, it is cheaper, it is cleaner, and it is more stable. So, what we can do is that we've not put all our eggs in one basket, i.e., like I said, the extension with the Jubilee partners to ensure that there's more production of gas. So far, I think we've done well, because since the US president has assumed power, nobody on this in international politics can say that certain things were not expected. Because there's a president that gets up, makes a comment, and then everything is rolling down on the global stage. So it's been good so far. But like I said, let's be put, let's trust in government. Like they say, in cases of emergencies, you don't panic. Whether on a bus, on a plane, in a skyscraper, when the alarm triggers, even if it's a fire alarm, you don't panic. If you panic, then stampede and others can set in. So that is what I can say for now. Yeah, definitely. mean, no country prospers when you import refined product, from crude oil to bauxite to manganese. Importing refined product is just like you importing inflation, importing in poverty and unemployment. You understand? So investment in toll and even the Petroleum Hub Foundation and every other thing in oil is the way to, because fossil fuel will linger for the next 50 years. So it's not a wasteful investment at all, no matter the cost. I mean, now, because of the contracts that were signed earlier, but this is a government that is trying to renegotiate contracts. So with renegotiation of contract, we can even have bulk feeds from our fields directly to toll, where we don't have to import crude oil and export and all those things. So local consumption can be worked on. So every investment in toll, it's laudable. Every investment. I mean, toll is trying to expand. Toll could do up to 100,000 barrels a day, and that is what we should be looking at, full scale. Even though petroleum competition helps, but toll, every investment in toll is worth it. See, every way that this government will take to ensure that we reduce the import of finished petroleum product is the way to go. Because like I said, everything you import, every finished product you import comes at a cost, brings in imported inflation and others. So whether investment in Tor or Centum, but I believe that Tor has the capability to host, to refine, host a lot of more capacity to hold more fuel. So we've not exhausted Tor yet, but with prudence, with good management and the reset agenda that is lingering everywhere, I believe an investment in Tor, especially under the current leadership of Tor, would not be a bad investment at all. Yes. What Tor is trying to do, currently Tor was doing about 40,000 barrels a day, but with the new injections and refits, Tor is targeting 70,000 now. But the capacity of Tor, when they came to meet the energy committee, is that they can do more than 120,000 barrels a day. And that is good news. Well, I believe, like I said, we should look at we cannot bench all our hopes, all our production, i.e., power production, domestic consumption, and industrialization on fossil fuel, gas, renewable energy. And that is why I'm happy to report that this government, just a year ago that we assumed power, we've added about 50 megawatts part of renewable energy to our power generation. So now we're doing about 5%. And with a Dawa company also coming up with 100,000, 200,000 megawatts soon, we'll be doing good. Because you know what? Renewable energy is a way to independence with regards to power production. The initial cost, for example, you might think is quite expensive, but eventually you become independent because you don't rely on anybody to supply you. You don't pay extra. So it's an investment saved. So that is the way to go. Like I said, our belief and our commitment to gas production, because gas is like cheaper, 50% cheaper, 50% reliable, and 50% cleaner. That is what we should do. And I believe even with the establishment of a renewable energy authority at the Ministry of Energy, it's commendable because this thing has been hanging in books, lingering in books for all this while. So I believe we're doing great, but we have to go that way of commitment to the cause, and eventually we'll be good. We'll be good. Yes, good. I mean, we're looking at the electric vehicle, but it has to go down to the production. I mean, The problem with our energy, especially the electricity value chain, is the distribution bit. Somebody produces it, Gridco transports it, and then ECG distributes. But the revenue mobilization, ECG loses about 40% of energy that it sends to our homes. 40%. So ECG sends 100,000 worth of electricity, but gets only about 60,000 worth in amount. And when ECG has those problems, it affects everybody. The independent power producers lack liquidity. You understand? And that is why I'm happy that this government is bent on it and now is bringing up private partnership concessions where bulk power will be sold to individuals. I.e., myself, if I have a company in this zone, Osu zone, there's a bulk power agreement. So ECG gives me a bulk power worth about $150,000, and I'm supposed to handle the revenue mobilization. So I'll go knock on doors. I'll be responsible for the metering. What ECG does is that, you know what? I gave you 150,000 worth of power. Bring back my money and let me give you a cut. And that is the way to resurrect and ensure that we make gains. Because as it stands now, we lose 40% of every energy we produce. It's not sustainable. So private partnership in the revenue mobilization is the way to go. Because at the end of the day, the generators will get their share, Critical will get its share, to be able to replenish, bring in smart lines. Because you know what? If there's power outcut in Europe, you don't need to go and fish out where the fault is. Instantly, you get to know that this is the cause of it. But this is investment that can only be made when ECG is able to make money into the cash water mechanism, which is the CWM. So basically, I believe it's good. But the biggest of intervention is the private partnership concession bit in the revenue mobilization, because that is where the repos come in. Ghana Gas is not making returns because ECG is not able to come up with cash. Gridco is suffering because ECG is not able to get the revenue, and the independent power producers. So I believe a lot of changes are ongoing, and it's positive so far. Like I said, faith, commitment, and trust in the system. So let's be smart on our borders patrols. Because you know what? See, higher fuel is a way that triggers inflation. In Ghana here, whenever there's an increase in fuel prices, it affects transportation. And 99.9% of transportational routes is by road. And the car that brings in the tomatoes from the north, the cargo that brings in the plantains from Sefi and others is by road. So government is always careful how it manages pump prices, because when it's high, it affects everything, and inflation, and even household incomes. The teacher that earns 5,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month would have to spend more on transportation. So it reduces household incomes. So, we can't say that what is due our citizens must not be given because somebody is going to smuggle. Build up, invest in it, make sure you stop the smuggling, and it will work. We should not be disturbed by what a neighbor, what one or two people would benefit at the detriment of our common populace. No, that is not something I will endorse. Yes, that is it. Like I said, when there's panic, now cities, dollar to cities are 10.7 cities. Imagine if there's a panic, everybody will be chasing a dollar. That's when the dollar, keeps, when there's demand for it, when demand exceeds supply, you know what happens? Then the exchange rates gets thrown overboard, and it becomes a problem. And then also with the rise in crude oil, in this morning I think I checked, there was over $100. So that means the government will need more forex to buy. So yeah, there will be some distortions, destabilization along the value chain. But like I said, I think that this thing is not going to linger for long, because the Americans will not even support a war. The U.S. president, in his own words, described it as a drill. So let's see how it goes. But I don't think anybody should pray for a longevity or a longer duration of this war, because no matter what, it's going to affect everything. Even with cargo transports, because most of these cargo pass through the Iran. There's a channel near Iran. And once they started bombing it, it disrupt value chain for everything, fertilizer, grain, everything. China, US trade, everywhere. So we should not pray for it to linger for long, because if it does, it will affect everything from forex to cost of oil to cost of living and everything around the world. So it all has to do with, like I said, we've put in place. I'm happy to be that me as a member of the Energy Committee will be able to expand the drill period of Katalo, because, like I said, gas is everything. Hey, you know what? Even if there's war in Iran and our capture points, off capture points production is on, our Jubilee fields are in production. Why not? We're getting a consistent supply of gas, we're good to go, because now almost about 80% of our power production is based on gas. So where there's a shortage of gas would cause much problems than even this fossil, this liquefied petroleum. But the only thing is that most of our transportation is based on liquefied petroleum. So we've done well with the expansion. And like I said, all these measures I'm telling you about, the private partnership, the Renewable Energy Authority, are ways that we are putting measures that we are putting in place to ensure that we get energy stability. But yes, the effect might not be felt now, because it might take a bit of time. But eventually, I believe if we should stay commitment to our course, we'll get things sorted out in place. Yeah, like I said, if we should exhaust our reserves, it will be a bit of problematic, because you know what? Once we're going to make some new purchases, we're not going to buy it at less than $100 as it was 80, 70, 2, 3 weeks ago. We're going to buy it if it's 130. You can imagine that's like more than 100% increase, which will be problematic. So every nation benches on its reserve. Every nation benches on its reserve. And for now, our biggest of stake is to pray that the reserves serves its course. Its course. If not, honestly, there's going to be some triggerings, which I cannot predict, but it won't be the same. There's going to be some increases here and there, i.e., increases in pumps, increases in transport fares. Inflation here and there. Yeah, but I'm optimistic that this war shouldn't last. Man, there's no way you can compare Iraq to what was happening in Ukraine. Like, even the position of Iraq is quite sensitive. I.e., the only canal that where vessels from the east channel through is becomes a problem and all those things. But we've not complained, have we? And then this government has not been benching everything. If it was the other government, they would have by now been saying that because of the Iraqi war, even if there's no water in town, even if the weather changes, even if it rains, they would have been blaming it on the Iraq, Ukraine war, US war. But we are not here to complain. It's just a comment that he's making, that you know what, as a country, let's pray that it doesn't get to that stage, because if it does, it might have an effect on us. Because you know it, Iraq, Iran, and the US, this war, and it's not only one country. The Ukraine, the Russian thing was just two countries just having their own thing. But this is everybody. Iran is bombing everybody. You know, you can't tell, and people are getting involved here and there. Yeah, Spain is trying to stay non-aligned, but they are being forced in. So that's how it is. We're talking about almost about 50, 20, 10, 15 countries. So it's very much sensitive. Even the North Korea started launching its missiles, indicating that, you know what, I'm ready for war. So this is something we should not pray for, because you can never tell, and a missile can land anywhere. Well, I must say that it's an ambitious project that it's sure to yield a lot of dividends to us as a country. Because like I said, uh, and that is what Dubai and the Arabs are doing. See, fossil fuel, liquefied petroleum will not last forever. People are moving away day in and day out. In the next 50 years, 100 years, I don't think anybody would want to buy a diesel fueled car. I don't think anybody would want to buy a diesel powered generator because now people are opting for EVs. So we have to leverage it, make use of it. And you know what? Having a refinery in Nzamaland, a refinery in Jomoro in Ghana, comes up with a lot of derivatives. That is sub products. We're talking about petrochemical industry. You know what? See, crude oil when it's refined comes with a lot of derivatives, products, glass. We have plastic. We have pharmaceuticals. We have bitumen. We have mention them. So places like Singapore, so they refine. You send Singapore doesn't produce oil. But what they do is that you bring your crude oil, no matter how thick it is, bring it. We refine it for you because they know that once you get your refined product, the rest is for them. See, these drugs we take, some of them are from petroleum products. So we look at a bigger picture. Imagine if we could have bitumen. Most of our roads are bad. See, for you to see a coal tar, a black tar on our roads, every component of that is imported. Cote d'Ivoire even has bitumen. We don't have it. So this thing brings a lot of potentials. See, we tried Burkina Faso, Mali, and others prefer doing business with Ghana. Even in Ghana now, the Burkinabes are taking over our tankers because they are reserving crude oil. So it's a good investment to be made, but the timing is crucial. I believe there were issues with the land compensation because the last government, the president Akufo just went there to commission it, cut a sword, and that was it. You don't just cut a sword and say there's an allocation for land compensations when actually there's none. So basically, the government has to raise about 300 million Ghana cedis for compensations and land entitlement. And basically, we are on. The Petroleum Hub Foundation was with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And the minister was candid and open that he endorses the project and has faith in it. We actually met them this morning. We're trying to use all means possible to help the project see the light of day so that we can benchmark, we can leverage on our position so that people like the Burkinabes, like Mali, others can come and deposit their fuel here and for that purpose, yes. My sister, there's a lot from construction to, like I said, to the petrochemical factories, paint factories, even paint. Ghanaians, we are used to paint and others. A lot, not only for my constituents, beyond. So, and then, but we're going to have even amusement parks. There's going to be tourism potentials and others. You should visit Singapore and see how a small nation like that has leverage on refinery. Leverage. They don't produce it. You bring it. Let's refine for you. We have a percentage. You take your refined fuel away, but they are still making ends meet and even benefit and profit. So not only from our constituents, there's going to be all around from skilled employment to unskilled employment, from whatever direct and indirect jobs. Many, not only from our constituents, but for Ghanaians. Well, it's serious. I mean, illegal mining is a problem now that the prices of gold is on the rise. And basically, I believe that as a country, people have not come to realize the effect. Unfortunately, Ghanaians, most of our young guys out there look at the benefit they seem to be getting today as against the future. So education is one, enlightenment is another, and greed. So it's a big problem. We actually sitting on a bump. I mean, I always say that, but I believe the government is on course with NAMOS and then the campaign against it. But I believe more needs to be done. But we need a cooperation of the chiefs and people of our constituents, because honestly, it becomes a problem when an MP from a mining area, if you misstep, it becomes a problem, because at a point somebody might even feel that you're a threat to their survival, even though you're preaching the right thing. So we need to do more. And then I believe that as a nation, we have to get to the point where we realize that illegal mining is not the way to go. I always build the scenario that is like just you building a skyscraper where you dig the foundation and you add it to the top. One day, the whole structure will collapse because the foundation is weakened. Because no country in this on this earth has gone the way we're going to succeed. You might think you're doing well, but indirectly it comes back to hit at you because Mother Nature will always come at you. So basically, we have to look at how to also or teach them how to do the right thing, because that's why the minister is campaigning on the responsible mining, where scientific research is done to allocate where the mineral deposits are, and then the people are sent to that field with better ways of mining. It's bad when people just get up everywhere digging around claiming that there's gold here and there. That is so we need to have a way to streamline it to make it proper, legal, and responsible way of mining. Because at the end of the day, it also employs people. So if you're taking a young man from there, where are you taking them to? So, but we've done well so far with the way the minister is managing the whole thing. But we need the support of the media, the support of the clergy, support of the people, because if we crash, we are on board as a nation. That's what I think. Let's equip GMPC to explore more, because bearing in mind that we don't have much time when it comes to fossil fuel. Even if it's the next 50 years, 100 years, there'll be a time when, renewable energy will take over. So let's explore more. Let's look at the agreement we sign. Why not? If we can empower GMPC to go to service agreement where we pay the service that is rendered and then the final product becomes our own, we can do that. And then also let's be committed towards it. Let's empower the renewable energy authority that is being set up, so that and renewable energy, like I said, it is a way to energy independency. And then also knowing too well that it is when we get it right with energy that our industries can resurrect. So basically it's good. And also with negotiations, this government is doing so well with renegotiations. Honestly, some of the agreement we signed were in a haste because of the period that those arrangements were signed. So we're going back to renegotiate on how to ensure that we also reserve and save some money. So that's it. So one is renewable, the part to renewable. Two is looking at how to reboost ECG to get to improve revenue mobilization, which is crucial to the survival and welfare of the energy security in Ghana. And also, let's explore more, get more gas, and pick it up from there. Well, I believe the constituency is well. The vision is huge. My constituency has always been a place where tourism stands out for Tanzania. So then now there's a project where we don't believe that people should leave Accra all the way to Nzulazo and just come back. There's more to see in Axim, i.e., the Fort St. Antonio, the building of Park Grant, the burial place of Park Grant, where Nkrumah State, Kwame Nkrumah, President Nkrumah stayed as a teacher in Axim, and also we have the most beautiful and biggest island in West Africa and others. So we're trying to leverage where people can also come in, because I've always believed that tourism is the direct way where the people can benefit, because when a tourist is down and buys an orange or water, it goes direct to the seller. It doesn't go through any channel. So that's what it is, and we're trying to bridge up the north to the south through a link bridge that links up, and then also the paramount chiefs in the constituency. There's five of them have come to appreciate that this is a time when we need to be together and then design a common cause, a common development path, because it is when we all work in commonness of purpose that we achieve much. I mean, road construction, we're looking, hoping that we benefit, and as we see now, the one of the major roads is being done, which is Simpa Junction to Bokazo Road. So far it's been good, and with the many projects that this government is bringing, this year alone we've done almost about two chips compound, two classrooms blocks, and so many boreholes and others, and a cassava sugar factory and others. And this is on an annual base. So even if we're having two chips compound every year, two school buildings every year, a market and others, you can imagine in the space of 12, 15 years, we can do much. So basically all we need is the support, unity of purpose, and then oneness. And I'm sure we can make progress.